Hi guys, this is Breaker, and I'm back with another wicked PVT between, I think this is two eXeA members if I'm not mistaken, yes. In the lower left hand corner, spawning as our blue Terran. Looks like it's eXeA's Ogna. I'm pretty sure he goes by a different alias on TeamSpeak. I can't quickly identify it. Perhaps he's from the EU division. Lately I haven't had time to get acquainted with people outside of Dragoon channel. They've basically been giving me mostly feedback for my casting, helping me become a better commentator, things of that nature. And in the lower right-hand corner, I gotta say, you know, he's like an encyclopedia for StarCraft within eXeA. I'm giving you none other than eXeA's very own Tydrokos. Now, both of these guys are on the same competitive team as far as I know, and it looks like, am I reading this right? Is this the next probe that's going out in this direction? There is a pylon back at home. It looks like Tydro wants to get a scout on his opponent, and I can't really blame him because even though this is only a two-player map, it is absolutely massive. If you just check out the vision that I have on the minimap as opposed to what I have in both mains, you can see that there's plenty of places to hide tech. And, you know, when you do anything to get a win in a game of StarCraft, you really have to do anything to protect yourself in that game of StarCraft. Alright, so here we go. It looks like we have a very standard-ish opener from Ogna. We have the first barracks going down here. I don't see a refinery in production just yet. And I'm thinking this is basically going to be based off of a classic Wings of Liberty opening, that just being the 1 racks expo. Could also be a 6 racks. And we have a gas, 1 gate. I'm thinking this will be just a single gate expo. And there it is. The refinery is going down just now for Ogna. Could be some kind of mind games. Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's hard to tell. But we also have the SCV moving out right now. And behind that we had something else in production, just the supply depot. First Marine is about finished. Second Marine is also on the way for Ogna. So I just want to point out that perhaps I was wrong. Yes, this could be, you know, this could be anything right now. I'm a little curious to see just what he has in mind. We do have, of course, a refinery just cranking away and cranking away and cranking away. And the cybernetics core is just finishing up for Tydro. He's also got a second gas. I really wish I could go back and figure out just when he had taken that. Because right now, I want to say this looks like perhaps some kind of a pressure-ish build into an expo. Not necessarily an all-in per se, but definitely something that's going to keep Ogna from moving out for a significant amount of time. We have a reactor going down now for Ogna, and what exactly is out on the map that costed so much gas right now, I'm wondering. No, this looks like, okay, this is a 1 racks expo into a 111, perhaps. You know, I don't like to use this label very often, but there are the games that do happen once in a great while, and I like to call them games that are made in China because I usually see them from a player by the name of Loner. That is to say, he likes to build lots of factories early game and try to just get a full-blown massacre on his opponent's mineral line. Basically banking on getting past a full wall off. SCV getting chased down by Tydro, so I don't know. Basically, we have all these Marines in proper position. They cannot chase down a Stalker. That's why they're not moving out. That's in case you guys play Zerg and you didn't know. And there it is, the expo from Tydro, but double gas still. Ah, there it is. Stargate play. So he's going to use the Stargate to actually kind of keep his opponent at bay. Oracles, very effective, I want to say, against Marines in small numbers. Very good when it comes to killing workers. We're talking, you know, if a mineral line does not move, a surplus of 10 workers could be killed in about 10 seconds. And immediately you have a robotics bay following this up, so I'm thinking that just perhaps this could be a Twilight Council kind of play, but we don't see the Twilight Council moving in just yet. He's probably, you know, maybe... I'm thinking, I'm willing to say that I'm wrong on this. I just called that out wrong. He's probably opting to crank out maybe some kind of Immortals. Immortals do not do good against Widow Mines, nor against Marines in large numbers. What exactly does he know right now? That's what we have to take apart and put back together. He just saw... Okay, he saw it's a 1-on-1 coming his way, so how does he react to this? Oracle in production. 2 more gateways that will eventually be turned into warp gates to supplement what he already has. And Tydro did see the Widow Mines as well as the Marines. This is a relatively small force, and the first thing that he cranks out is an Observer. We see extremely early gases on the natural. I want to say, not extremely early, but I want to say definitely for versus Terran build, relatively early. So I'm thinking perhaps we're going to see a Twilight Council eventually. If not, it's just something from the advanced... what's the word I'm looking for? Advanced tech tree. And we do have a medevac with 1 Widow Mine and 6 Marines inside of it. Tydro does not have any of his forces in the main, so it's going to be difficult for him to hold that. He's focusing down the Widow Mine. It gets a shot off. I missed that. And now the mineral line in the main is in a heap of trouble. All the probes get pulled off. But, oh my god, the probe massacre is huge. 5 from 1 shot from a Widow Mine. And if we give it just a second, we'll see an Oracle come in and basically try to deal with whatever's on the ground. But yeah. Oh, but this is the even worse part right now. He has no vision in his main, so he's got no way to tell where that Widow Mine is. And he could end up losing more workers from this, and they are all lined up right now just as they are headed into the mineral line. Oh, but he catches on at the last second. He's like, wait a minute, we're in trouble. And looks like the Oracle takes the fall for that one. Yeah, he just realized it at the last second. No, he's not listening to me stream because this is actually a local recording that I'm going to upload to YouTube later. And speaking of YouTube, if you guys could just click on that red flashing button on the right side that says subscribe, that'll make you, me, and everyone else in between very happy. Missile turret going down in the main, or excuse me, in the natural for Ogna. I'm a little curious as to what he's concerned about. Perhaps oracles. He's like, oh, well, you're going to try and throw oracles at me? That's not going to work. But I kind of think that it's static defense, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, how quickly do oracles move compared to mutas? They can't move faster than mutas. I would think Marines in large numbers would be enough to take care of oracles. Alright, and speaking of Marines, we have this one moving out, just trying to check for some proxy pylons, making sure there's no early pressure. And of course, +1 is on the way as well as Stim. 3 Phoenixes are getting ready to move into the mineral line, and this is actually going to be really bad for Tydro if he's not careful. There we go, he caught onto that Widow Mine right there. But just, oh my god, this Bioforce is moving out, and I think Tydro knows about it. He just doesn't have control of this watchtower. He's not completely aware of just what's happening. He does know that his opponent's just now getting his 3rd down, and I think if he opens his eyes at just the right moment, he'll be able to catch on to just what is going on in here. You know, it looks like Tydro is playing with these Phoenixes to make them catch on to perhaps a drop of some sort going down. And now the Observer's actually out here in a forward position, so now Tydro knows what's going down. A couple of force fields, 4 force fields going down. He's like, yeah, I can't stomp that right now. So he's just gonna throw it on the force fields. He could use, alternatively, if they do get in, he could actually use photon overcharge defensively. And there it is. A medevac gets caught onto, and oh, the Phoenixes! They're not doing enough damage to it, and they do get in, unfortunately. And meanwhile, we do have the front side poking in. Ogna's supply is still relatively higher than that of Tydro's, but right now in the main, we do have Ogna. Even though he lost the medevac, you know, he still has this relatively important scouting info, and man, Marauders take forever to kill with Phoenixes. You know, you can basically see that right here. There's a robotic space researching extended thermal lance, so he sees that Colossi are now coming into play. And I also like this by Tydro as well. He's got vision on the only Widow Mine at his opponent's natural. Now moving out. I'm not sure if this is an offensive stance or if he's perhaps going to relocate it. Looks like it's just going to move with the main force for now. And Tydro is opting to take his own 3rd right now. This His opponent's income is substantially higher, just slightly higher actually. But as long as Terran has mules, it'll be significantly higher. And we have more Phoenixes being tacked on as well, interestingly enough. Observer, of course, keeping an eye on just what's going here at the natural. He does know that units are being rallied outside of the natural. That is actually the most important part. So he knows that his opponent is looking to make an offensive very soon. And let's just see what Ogna is thinking right now. He's thinking, okay, well, I'm going to pull back, maybe macro up a little bit more. Just really, I guess maybe he's thinking, okay, well, I don't have what it takes to beat this Tydro guy just yet. We have 2 Colossi out, and for each Colossus that is out on the map, we also have 2 Vikings. The Twilight Council is now going down. I did call that in the wrong order, but now there's actually a significant number of Phoenixes here. Wow, that's a lot, and they're actually kind of in 2 different rotating lines. I want to say that that number of Phoenixes cannot one-shot a medevac, but definitely take it down relatively fast. The Observer out here, kind of just hanging out, keeping an eye on what's going down here. Can catch that most of his opponent's army right now is Marauders. I want to say that I think right now just adding 2, maybe 3 Immortals to the composition of Tydro can help him out significantly. But now we have Terran just tacking on a lot more Marines and kind of reducing the Marauder count. So, never mind, that plan was basically gone to poop. We do have the Templar Archives on the way now, which is actually going to help out a lot more. The Storms will definitely melt anything that comes their way. Phoenix here does see this one Marine, and I really like the way, that Tydro is using his Phoenixes. He's just patrolling them and making sure that we won't see any drops coming by in angles that he won't have any vision of. But of course now we have the main force of Ogna moving out. 200, 200, almost to the 150 of Tydro. Upgrades right now is only +1 armor for Tydro. He's getting +1 attack as well as +2 armor now. Psystorm in research. It's nowhere near done. I just don't think he's going to quite have the AoE it's going to take to Raffle Stomp this composition from Ogna. We also have wait, is that +1? +1 infantry weapons, and now we got, Phoenixes to take care of some of these Vikings in the air. But right now, I don't know, it's 174 supply to 120 something so far, and the Phoenixes are actually relatively safe against these Vikings, and there are 4 Colossi here to mop up all the Marine Marauder force, and the leftover forces from Tydro are dealing with the 1 Viking, and this is interesting. It actually looks like he's not dealing with the 1 Viking. Right now, since the Phoenixes are off the map, one thing that Ogna can do, which would be extremely effective and take down a good deal of the tech that Tydro has, would be to maybe send a 2, no more than 3 medevac drop into the main of Tydro, kill all of these Artosis pylons, because that's basically the only flaw that we can see from Tydro right now. There is a 4th base now, just finishing up for Ogna, but Tydro's 3rd only got started about 30 seconds ago. The gateways here are just getting more, they're just increasing more and more. How many does he have altogether? I'm looking for that magic number. There's 8 warp gates so far. We do have, let's see here, how many BGs? Let's see. BG, if you hit B and then you hit G, you got a gateway, so that's why I call it a BG. 5 more being tacked on. So altogether that's going to bring it to 13. And it looks like we have Ogna opting to gear up for the late game. This is definitely not good in the shoes of Protoss or Zerg. If you see your Terran, or even Terran, if you see your Terran opponent throwing away SCVs, that means he's alleviating supply and basically using all of his mules to make mineral income while using just a handful of, that's what I'm looking for, SCVs to mine gas. So it looks like we have both players gearing up for the late game. I will say that right now, You know, maybe not both players, but anyway, I will say that right now I actually did not cast this replay before. There were no mistakes with the last one that I made. And it looks like that's a lot of Vikings. They're gonna get some not entirely free shots off on the Colossi, but this is definitely not an engagement that's going to favor our Terran that much. We do have Archons warping in. All the Colossi have been dealt with, but the Zealots are out of position as they come in to try and deal with the Marine Marauder force. Marauders are taking lots of damage from these Archons. The Archon splash tag is definitely what's doing all the damage right here. And behind this, we have +3 on the way for Terran. 3 Marauders being cranked out at a time, 8 Marines, and 4 Ghosts, along with Terran ship weapons level 2. You know, I just want to say, it looks like it could get increasingly worse for Tydro if he's not careful. There was an observer that left the game. That's not too terribly important. And it looks like there was an SCV here that Tydro just didn't know about. I probably would have started building a supply depot if I was that far ahead. Two Archons now coming out and on the way. I think with the EMPs out, you know, Tydro's just thinking, okay, so it's to my advantage to keep my actually not my Colossi, but my High Templar to a minimum. We have a planetary fortress going down, and it seems like everything that our Terran took after the after the third was planetary fortresses. And now Tydro is opting to take his 5th. I do want to say I think it's just a teeny bit strange that he opted to take this for his 4th base as opposed to this, because this one is, I think, a little bit closer to home, a little bit easier to defend, but at the same time there's still running the risk of taking a 4 medevac drop here, having them take down your Nexus and then lift up and run away. We do have Terran building armor on the way, so it looks like we may see some planetary fortresses being used defensively, perhaps. We do have a command center here, but of course there's plenty of time to clear away this. And I'm still trying to think what else is there that's critical going on right now. Terran's at 3-3, and we have Protoss at about attack level 3. I do apologize, as I did just get some kind of a notification on my Facebook wall. And now we have Tydro switching to shields, and finally we have 200 armies ready to go against each other. These High Templar have plenty of energy on them, more than enough to throw down multiple Psi Storms, especially when each one only costs 75 energy. They've each got enough to throw down 2, so in theory, as long as they don't get EMP'd, they will each be able to throw down, or there will altogether be about 8 Psi Storms. Basically, what I can tell you about this engagement is it will all come down to the positioning. But hello, beautiful. We see the Dark Shrine over here, and a beautiful storm going off on all these Vikings. Unfortunately, it only puts just a couple, not just a couple, but like 3 or 4 into yellow HP. Ghost gets 1 snipe off before this High Templar takes it down, and now this is just basically a micro battle. There we go, and that's the stim for the win. Tydro forced to use his storms, and that was a beautiful storm that just went off on all those Marines and Marauders. There's a lot of Zealots here. Vikings kind of out of position, but the Archons are not targeting them down. Instead, we just have this Archon and 1 Stalker trying to target them down. Right now, supply difference is about 30, but of course, if we can see Tydro just play a little more defensively, it'll be good to go. That's a lot of Zealots coming into the mix right now. Do they have legs? They don't have charge! But it doesn't matter because this is a beautiful storm. 26 minutes into the game, and it's looking like we're having a bit of an 18-minute engagement. Yes, Ogna says charge. He's like, look, Mom, no hands. And it looks like that may just be the only mistake that we see Tydro making, and it's going to cost him a lot. There's enough energy for 1 more good storm, and a bunch of Zealots are coming back. They're basically just being thrown away, but it's okay because with the amount of resources that we see Tydro floating right now, he can just throw away about 600 Zealots before gas becomes a problem. Excuse me, 6 Zealots, 600 minerals in Zealots. Alright, so now we have defensive planetary fortresses? No. This is actually going to turn into an orbital command, as is this one. Right now, we really need to see Tydro get ready to move out, because if his opponent takes any more expos, his income is just going to be to where he could just max out on barracks that are producing 1 Marine at a time until he finally just produces for each barracks 2 Marines, and boom, he's maxed out. We do have Tydro finally taking that 5th base, but of course his opponent's been on 5 base for a while now. And we have lots of ghosts coming out right now. And more SCVs being thrown away. I think it's a pity that we actually see these guys being thrown away, and they're mining gas of all things. Most valuable resource in the game. Ah, jeez, misclick. Just alleviating supply is all, and Tydro can see that. He's not entirely oblivious to it, but he's got to make way for the late game tech up, and now we have nuclear launches going into play. It looks like this is going to basically be used to push Tydros' forces out of the way, and charge is actually now finished. So this time, when we see both of these late game armies go, oh no, this is actually, I think this must be a misclick. Oh my God, Tydro, why Tydro? And now we just see Terran capable of throwing away scans as he pleases. The income of Tydro, I want to say that was a huge mistake he made just now. He's got an okay spread on his main force, but he's only got 2 Colossi. His opponent has so many ghosts, so many Vikings, and I think this may just be the final engagement of the game. Lots of feedbacks going down, but it's just not enough to take down all of these ghosts. The spread was meant to prevent the EMPs from doing too much damage, but the Colossi only gets 2 thermal lance sweeps off before finally falling. A wall of zealots warping in to stem the flow of the Marines, and even more zealots and High Templar are warping in, and DTs are now here, and Tydro calls out GG and leaves the game. I don't know, there was a nuke going down at the natural to basically block any reinforcements, and this eXeA Ogna guy, let me tell you, he comes across as a very strong Terran. Alright guys, this is Breaker. Click on the subscribe button. Don't go away. I'm going to cast 1 or 2 Zerg games for Tydro. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.